Hello, guys. Welcome back to another edition of First Reaction. I haven't done one in a while. I just trying to find time to watch new things. So recently, I discovered a show called Space Force on Netflix, and it just came out May 29th. And for me, I think this is a fantastic show. And let me start out with this. I try to do a quick summary because it is one whole season with 10 episodes. So it starts off with Steve Carell's character, whose name is General Naird. He is in charge of a team called Space Force, which is like what you said, it's a military team, like the Air Force, but for space. And this show of course, is a workplace comedy, just like Brooklyn Nine-Nine, The Office, 30 Rock, and the rest of those. And so in the show, the president would like to have boots on the moon by 2024. Yes, boots on the moon. So weaponizing space, right? A few episodes in, maybe this first or second episode, they launch a satellite. After scientists say they do not do it, but with Naird, or Steve Carell's character, he's a general, so he kind of just goes by gut feeling and describes the fact that sometimes scientists they overanalyze things and they don't actually do things with their willpower. Um, the launch is successful, and after a few minutes, though, the funny part, a few minutes later, after the satellite's up there and they check it out, a Chinese space station flies by, stops, and then just dismantles the the satellite. So the whole show shifts to this whole space war against China. For me, that was very unexpected. I didn't think that would be happening, but it's hilarious to me. Um, and to so try to fix the satellite, they call upon another station that's been abandoned. However, there are animals in there. There's a dog and there's a monkey. I think it's a monkey or chimpanzee, one of those. Um, and then, of course, doing sign language or communicating through all the machines, telling the monkey, "Hey, fix this, and we'll give you more food and stuff." So then they try their best to get the monkey to grab the specific tool, and then have a nice spacewalk to the satellite and to fix it. And it's a success until the monkey gets to the actual satellite, and then the monkey just gets too overwhelmed by all the commands and then just starts smashing on the satellite. However, when you start smashing or forcing within space, you kind of just you don't stop. You kind of just keep going and going. So then the monkey starts flying away from the satellite, and then the Chinese space station finds the monkey and lets it into their station. So then now he's quote unquote a hostage, right? Yeah, this all sounds very ridiculous, but there's a point to all this, and I'll get to it. But just trying to run through this summary real quick. It's the whole season. Um, so then when that happens, that failed, right? And then they find satellite photos of the moon, and then they see that China has already have a base on the moon. So the boots on the moon by 2024 has been accelerated like crazy. General Naird, played by Steve Carell, he volunteers to be part of the team where they experiment on other people, like how to live on the moon. So so that's one episode of him experimenting on only eating potatoes and being with a specific certain people together for hours, um, doing nothing, and then he has PTSD from being a general, right? So fast forward through that. So the main mission is to have boots on the moon, right? So then when they create the team for the Space Force to go to the moon, um, they're all inexperienced. Like none of them has ever been to space, and it's just more comedy just kind of ensues. Uh, they launch to space. They land. They land in the area where technically China has already claimed. So that's already a bad thing, right? And how do you claim space? Who knows? Um, so then when that all happens, the Air Force general walks into the Space Force and just takes over the Space Force on the commands of the president and a lot of political stuff that's happening. So Naird is captured, at his station, and the Air Force general commands Space Force that's in space to go to the Chinese space base and destroy it, and kill all the scientists that are there. So they start driving to. This is like maybe the last episode. They start driving to the station. While they're driving, the Chinese people are driving the other way, and they both wave at each other, a little awkward wave. And then they dismantled the whole base. While they come back to their base, the U.S. Space Force, they see that their base has been destroyed by the Chinese. And while all that's happening in space, while back on Earth, as Naird and his teams have all been captured, he gets a call from his daughter, and she says that she needs help. She potentially has been kidnapped. So he sneaks out, grabs a helicopter, and then goes to get her. And then while that's happening, I forgot to mention that Naird's wife is in jail this whole time. And I guess the daughter called Naird, and they also called her mother. Um, so then she escapes prison to make sure that she's safe too. So then when they all meet, they all see each other, and then they start flying on the helicopter back to base. And then while that's happening, the U.S. space base in the moon is destroyed. So he gets a call on the helicopter saying that, hey, if you come back, you're gonna get charged by multiple stuff by the government, and it's just all of there's uh, a lot of government terminologies that right now currently I'm just not remembering. But just watch this a few times, and it's hilarious. And that's kind of the summary of the whole arc of Space Force. Of course, so Steve Carell plays General Naird. John Malkovich is like his the Dr. Mallory. He's the chief Space Force scientist. So he's like the second hand with Steve Carell's character. There's Ben Schwartz, who plays F. Tony, which is Fuck Tony. He's the social media director. Diana Silvers is the daughter, Erin Naird. Tawny Newsom is the captain of the Space Force that's actually on the moon. And then the comedian Jimmy O Yang is the doctor. He's Dr. Mallory's lead assistant, so he's the second hand of John Malkovich's character. And then there's a whole slew of random actors in here too. Lisa Kudrow is the wife of Nair, so she's the one in jail. Jane Lynch is the chief of naval operations. Um, it just it. So I'm gonna explain why I thought this was a 4 out of 5, and I did a mistake of looking at other people's reviews, and a lot of people didn't like this movie. I mean, they didn't like the series for some reason, and I kind of believe it's because it makes fun of everything. So first, my first note that I wrote is this is a great cast, very diverse, very hilarious. Everyone's on point when it comes to the comedy timing, and so my second one, and it's a big list. It's like this whole show is a satire of the government, of cancel culture, of just everything that's happening right now. Obviously, I feel like this show was filmed maybe last year or something. So who knows? How would they have known what's happening now? But it's making fun of a lot of things. There's one thing like Lisa Kudrow, so she's in jail, and somehow she is like the leader of the whole prison, and she has cornrows on, like they braided cornrows on her. And I think one of the lines, I'm paraphrasing, she says like, "Oh, it's not offensive that they do it for you." And little things like that. Yes, it sounds offensive, but that's comedy. You have to be offensive to be funny sometimes. And having inexperienced people to go in space is a fat satire of just all of government, of what's happening. They have parodies of senators or Congress people. Um, Alexandra Cortez, AOC. She's not in the show, but there's a parody of her, played by Ginger Gonzaga, and her. You know how people call her AOC in here? It's AYC. Annabella. I can't even say the name, so I'm not even gonna try. But then they also have a parody of Nancy Pelosi and just a slew of other senators and Congress people. And I'm not saying I'm left or right or anything, but it's a funny depiction of this as a whole. And I do believe, as I read a couple of reviews about this, it's you could clearly see that people on the left did not like this show because I guess they don't enjoy being made fun of. For me, I felt like this was a great show, great timing of everything. Even with the character Fuck Tony makes fun of social media and how unnecessary, how stupid that is too. Um, you have the random team of people going into space. I think there's a janitor in there. There's a there's a not a maid, but just imagine trying to build a house on the moon. Who do you need? You can't be all astronauts, right? So how do you build a house? So you need everything else, electrician, plumbers, and stuff like that. Well, not plumbers, but there's a lot of other things you have to do. No plumbers because there's no water out there. But so my take on this is a 4 out of 5. I love this show, and another highlight was while they do all of this and the whole story arc of being in space and all that, they do highlight a lot of unique human emotions and interactions. And my description of that is when Nerd is he has a daughter, and he has a wife that's in jail. So he's a single father, also the general of Space Force. So then when the satellite gets dismantled by China, he has to um, be on the station and control this situation and be out all night, whatever, right? But then when he comes home, while he's doing that at home, his daughter is studying for school and wants him to tutor her, but he's busy. So then when he comes home, he's tired of shit. He talks to his daughter, and then daughter's like, "Oh, I need help on this." All right, cool. And then he just stays up. So then, right there, at that moment, it's the very last scene, one of the episodes, is highlighting human emotions. And now with Naird's wife being in jail, there's another scene where she talks about having an open marriage because she cares for his well-being with human interactions. She's going to be in jail for 40 years, and they only have conjugal visits like once a year for like 8 hours or something. And they were describing, or I think it's like maybe 2 days a year or something. I forgot, but so she was actually illustrating that she's gonna feel lonely in prison for 40 years, and she understands that he will be too. So then, this is the reason why I don't understand why all the bad reviews, because it's the show is a big risk. I do understand that. However, it is punching through all of it very smoothly, in my opinion. The only bad thing I have with this is they never actually explain Naird's wife being in jail, but that could be in season 2. Um, but overall, I thought this was a very, very funny show. I highly recommend it. And just take a step back when you watch it, because it is making fun of a lot of things. A lot of unnecessary wars beginning and big egos. Um, just take a step back and really analyze all of this, because it's a very, very, very funny, well written show. Um, yeah, so that's my first reaction to this. I've seen this actually twice already. To introduce it to a couple of my other friends. I've You guys have any suggestions or have any comments on this, or have your own opinions about this show? Just write a comment. It's all good. I'm here to learn. And shout out to whoever on YouTube told me to analyze shows better, because I don't know what I'm doing wrong until someone tells me, right? Or not wrong, but not good. Stay safe and enjoy your week. Thanks.